Hey, what's up guys? How's it going? My name's Walter, and in today's video I'm going to be replacing my JLT cold air intake with the Hellcat lower airbox. Now, just to touch on this briefly, for those who are curious as to why I'm switching this JLT one with the Hellcat lower airbox, is mainly because of the fact that after I installed this cold air intake, we had a pretty big rainstorm here in the San Fernando Valley. And pretty much I checked up on it right after the storm just because I was curious. It was pretty big and I was just like, you know what, if it stays dry during that storm, then I should be perfectly fine with running it and not having issues with this setup. But what I came to discover when I checked on the intake was that the whole top part was completely soaked. The only dry part was under, and I was kind of surprised because, as you guys can see, I have the JLT rain shield that they sell. And even with that piece installed, somehow the intake still was completely soaked in this whole area right here. So then after that, I was thinking about it, and this car is my daily driver. I don't have like a second car to drive around, and I do drive a lot for work. So with all that being said, I just don't want to risk it and end up doing some type of damage to the car. Even though I really do like this intake, I want to keep it on. I'm kind of bummed that I have to switch it out, but luckily I live in California and it only rains like in the beginning of the year. So once like kind of the rain season passes, I'll probably end up just throwing it back on. I don't want to run into issues of me getting caught up in a storm and, like I said, water getting into the intake and causing any type of damage. And I'm not knocking JLT. I'm not trying to say like this doesn't completely work. And I've seen some people completely seal this off, but I thought about it and I really don't want to eliminate the hood function of it. So I thought the best solution would just be to install a Hellcat lower airbox. Now, to install the Hellcat lower airbox, it's really simple. So if you're installing it with the stock cold air intake that comes on these cars, all you're going to be replacing is this bottom part that you see right here. So you're going to still keep this part with this hose and these stock clamps. All you're going to be doing is moving these screws right here and just popping the lid off. But I'll show you guys how to do that. Now, for this cold air intake, it's really simple. You're just going to take off these 3 screws right here, unclip this clamp, and then you're just going to take off the hose from this part right here that's connected to the actual cold air intake tubing. Take this off. And this screw right here is an 8mm. Take off this sensor. Put this piece back on. Now, the hardest part of removing the intake is going to be removing this tube. So what'll make it a little bit easier is to take off this cap right here. Ooh. Take off this plastic piece. I'm gonna go ahead and take off the intake just to make it easier. And there you go. Finally got the tubing off. And then also, if you have the Hellcat air duct, just go ahead and remove it. For anyone that's curious, I do have a full video on how to install one of these with the part number. If you guys want to check it out, the link will be down below in the description. And after some finessing, here, no, get away. All right, now let's unbox the Hellcat lower airbox. Now, for anyone that's curious, I'll leave the link to the part in the description down below if you guys want to check it out for yourselves. I'm gonna leave all this plastic in the box, or otherwise my dog's gonna take off with it and try to eat it. Now, you can get this part relatively anywhere, like on Amazon or from an actual like OEM Mopar store or whatever. I got it from Summit Racing. I think Amazon has it for the cheapest though. No, for those of you who are curious, the only difference is gonna be where this hole is right here. And the reason people do this upgrade is because on Scatpacks, I open the hole, like I said. On a stock Scatpack, they leave this hole closed, as you guys can see, and they have a cap right there. So there's no direct airflow that can go into the actual intake. So this swap is actually a very popular one. So I recommend this piece right here for anyone who wants to kind of upgrade their cold air intake. I know some people have preferences on like what kind of intakes they want to run. Some people want to do this upgrade instead of running like the JLT cold air intake, just because of heat soak issues and all that. So installing it's going to be very simple. You're just going to want to go ahead and attach the air duct right now. To install the Hellcat lower air box, all you're really going to need is just the air box itself. You could run the same filter, but I'm going to be upgrading it to a K&N one. And then you're also going to need these right here. These are like some weather seals, and basically all you're going to do is just mimic where the stock one has these little paddings right here that you see. Now it has a little indentation right here. So all you're going to do is just put some right here. And then I do have a smaller one. So when I went to the store, they didn't have anything bigger. That's why I kind of got this one. It was like the biggest one. Now this is just double-sided, so. And just trim any excess if you have any on the sides. Now to install some on the bottom right here, along the edge. Now mine looks like this. It's not perfect, but it'll get the job done. Now to continue, you're gonna need this rubber piece. It's gonna be in the same location the stock one, like sitting in the back. You're just gonna go ahead and grab it and put it on. Now that you got it, just go ahead and put it in place. Maybe a little bit hard, but you should be able to align it just fine. And that's pretty much it. The only thing that's gonna hold this case is this screw right here. But just make sure that your air duct is in the correct space, that everything's nice and tight right here still. Now from the stock Airbox, you're gonna want to remove this piece right here. Then just slide the clamp over so it releases. Okay, so with this tubing, you're gonna see it has a little hole right here. All you're gonna do is just connect this piece. You're just gonna want to make sure it sits nice and flush. This is where the actual sensor is gonna connect. Now I almost forgot. Before you go ahead and install this screw, there's this little rubber piece right here that you're gonna need to slide in. Install the rubber piece first, just slide it in, and then this little piece that you see in the middle, just go ahead and push it in from underneath. Because if you try to slide it in directly through this little crevice right here, it's not going to go in. And now that you got that piece on, go ahead and install the screw. Now this is the filter that I'm going to be using. It's from K&N. Like I said, I'll leave everything down below in the description if you guys want to check it out. Now just be careful because it is going to come oiled. Just go ahead and drop it in. Make sure it's seated nice and flush. Now that your filter's in, just go ahead and install the top piece of the Airbox. Just go ahead and attach this tubing right here. Now to seat the top part on, you're just gonna need to make sure that these little tabs go in the holes from the lower Airbox. And now go ahead and install the screws. All right, so now that's installed, you're gonna go ahead and attach this tubing. Go ahead and start to tighten it. And go ahead, grab the sensor, and just clip it in. And that's pretty much it. Now all you're gonna do is just go ahead, install this plastic piece back on. Tighten on the cap. And that's it. You're all done. Now just go ahead and make sure everything you screwed on is nice and tight. That's pretty much it, guys. If you guys have any questions, leave it down below if you guys need some help or anything like that. Now I doubt it's gonna make as much noise since its filter is actually now enclosed in the Airbox, but I'll still give you guys a startup just to see what it sounds like.